Well, as we see futures, they're lower, but off their lows of earlier today. Why don't we start off with your word of the day?
Sure. It's a reluctant word, and I may be projecting, but fragile. Fragile is the word we agreed on. I think coming out of two up sessions with the SEP that were really predicated on sentiment, and as you said, we had some some comfort around Chairman Powell. The market was happy to see that. Certainly, we have had some really solid and even strong earnings results, which have been great. But it's all about the look forward, not the look back. And I think it's going to be really hard for the hope that the market wants to have to be maintained until we really start to get more concrete data about trade negotiations, progress, and crystallization around the tariff outlook in particular.
Lisa, with that in mind, I want to play a soundbite from our Jim Cramer yesterday, what he said about the market and also the president's influence on it.
Sure.
Right now, Trump owns Wall Street, and only he can decide if that's going to be a good thing or a bad thing.
This kind of plays into your fragile idea here, or your fragile being word of the day. Do you agree with that take that right now earnings, we're seeing, some positive outlook like a ServiceNow, for example, but others given a bit of a dreary outlook on the economy and the consumer. But do you agree it's really just the president that seems to be the driver?
Absolutely. There's no question. And I think that certainly is going to cause bounces when we're hearing things from the president and the White House that are consistent with what the market wants, which is really consistency first and foremost. It goes in the other direction when we don't get that. But I think what the market is really getting to is a place of realizing that we do need to see concrete data bear out. And I think you're right. The voice of the president is what's dominating, and what Wall Street responds to most positively is the voice of the president that is reflecting the input in particular of Secretary Bessent.
One thing I want to ask you about our Fed is the Fed and Fed rate cuts. Your rate strategist actually moved up his outlook for the first rate cut to happen in June. It was previously in July. How big of a factor is the president in that, at least in his mind and your House view?
Yeah, our rate strategist, Gennady Goldberg, has pulled forward the rate cut expectation. I think that the president's view is probably on the margin a factor. How could it not be, certainly? But I think that they are coming from the same things in the sense of saying, listen, we are going to have to be proactive here because the data inherently are backward looking. You really can't wait until you see, the future reality perfectly reflected in the data, especially because we know that so much of the spend and the performance that we've seen for Q1 is really based on a lot of pull through, where it's unclear how much of that is pull through. That's been the dominant conversation around all the earnings calls. And so I think that there will be some recognition of that.
And with that, why don't we get to your pick? What is your pick for us today and why?
Sure. Well, we really try to focus on durable investment themes at TD Cowen, and we certainly view biopharma innovation as a really critical, enduring theme. Human need is not going away. And so we're interested in a stock that can give us exposure to that biopharma innovation and that growth, but in a way that is a little more protected and tariff resilient in this kind of environment. So Royalty Pharma is a really interesting play. It's a royalty structure. The company negotiates guaranteed contractual royalties on future pharma revenue streams. Very, very diverse portfolio across many biopharma companies, many different underlying assets. So they get that yield, but they don't have to worry about the tariff impact that an operating pharma manufacturer does.
Okay.
So it's a really interesting way to get some of that exposure, but in a much more protected way.